The 8th Pay Commission has just crossed an important milestone. The deadline for ministries, government departments and union territories to submit their employee and salary data has now closed. That means the Commission can move to the next stage, that is, analyzing the numbers, meeting employee organizations and eventually deciding what changes it wants to recommend for salaries, pensions and allowances. But if you are a central government employee wondering whether this means your salary is about to increase, the answer is not yet. The Commission is only halfway through its allotted 18-month term and its final recommendations are expected to reach the government around May or June of next year, that is 2027. So what happens between now and then? And perhaps more importantly, how much could your salary eventually change? Hi, I'm Nupur and you're watching Control Z, your cheat code to navigating adulthood. Now first let's understand where the 8th Pay Commission stands today. The Commission was constituted on 3rd November 2025 under former Supreme Court Judge Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai. It has now completed 9 months of its 18-month tenure. And one of its biggest exercise so far has been gathering data from across the government. Now every ministry and department was asked to provide detailed information about its workforce, including employee numbers, existing pay structures, allowances, vacancies and the financial implications of possible revisions. The original deadline for this was 30th June. Now that was extended to 31st July after several departments sought additional time. Now that window has closed. And this data matters because the Pay Commission cannot simply decide that salaries should rise by a certain percentage. It has to calculate what those increases would mean for the government's finances across lakhs of employees and pensioners. So what happens now? The Commission will analyze those submissions while continuing consultations with employee unions, pensioner organizations and government bodies. It has already held meetings in Delhi, Ladakh, West Bengal and Odisha, with further consultations scheduled in Delhi, Chennai, Puducherry and Chandigarh. And these meetings matter because employee organizations are pushing for changes that go well beyond a one-time salary increase. One of the biggest debates, of course, is the fitment factor, which is the multiplier eventually used to translate existing basic pay into a revised pay structure. But there's another number receiving increasing attention. This is your annual increment. Under the 7th Pay Commission, central government employees generally receive an annual increment of around 3% of basic pay. Now, several employee organizations want that increased under the 8th Pay Commission. The National Council of the Joint Consultative Machinery, the All India Defence Employees Federation and the Federation of National Postal Organizations have sought an annual increment of 6%. The Indian Railways Supervisors Association has proposed a 5% increment and the All India New Pension Scheme Employees Federation has sought a 7% increment. Now these are demands from employee organizations. The 8th Pay Commission has not accepted or recommended these figures. But still, why does moving from say a 3% to 5 or 6% increment matter so much? Well, because annual increments compound. Let's for example take a level 1 employee with a starting basic pay of 18,000 rupees under the existing pay matrix. Now bankbazaar.com has calculated some illustrative projections. If the annual increment remains around 3%, the basic pay could reach approximately 20,900 rupees after 5 years. At a hypothetical 5% increment, it could reach around 23,100 and at 6% approximately 24,200. That's a difference of roughly 3,300 rupees a month in basic pay between the 3 and the 6% illustrations after 5 years. Now look at level 2. Starting from the basic pay of 19,900, the 5-year projections are approximately 23,100 at 3%, 26,800 at 5% and 27,600 at 6%. At level 3, starting from 21,700, the projections after 5 years are around 25,200 at 3%, 27,700 at 5%, and 29,100 at 6%. Again, these numbers are pure illustrations, not actual 8th pay commission recommendations. And the actual pay matrix could itself change under the new commission. But they demonstrate why employees are paying attention to the annual increment alongside the headline fitment factor. Because the fitment factor determines the initial jump in basic pay. The annual increment determines how that salary grows thereafter. And higher basic pay can have a cascading effect. It can affect components linked to basic salary, including dearness allowance, house rent allowance, NPS contributions, and eventually retirement benefits, depending on the rules ultimately adopted. So when will we actually know what employees are actually going to get? Well, that's where expectations need to be managed. Closing the data window does not mean the Commission has finalized a new pay matrix. It still needs to analyze thousands of pages of information, complete stakeholder consultations, evaluate the financial impact, and prepare its recommendation. See, the Commission is expected to submit its final report to the Centre around May or June next year. And even that isn't necessarily the final step, because the union government then has to consider those recommendations as well. A pay commission makes recommendations, but the government is not legally required to accept every proposal exactly as presented. It can accept, reject, or modify individual recommendations before implementing the revised salary and pension structure. So for central government employees and pensioners, the big numbers to watch will be the fitment factor, of course, annual increment allowance, pension changes, and any revision to the dearness allowance mechanism. The data gathering stage is over. The calculations will now begin. And when those calculations eventually become recommendations, we'll get the answer millions of government employees are waiting for. Not simply how big the first salary hike will be, but how quickly that salary will grow into the years that follow.